Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Movie Clips Instant Trailer Review Show. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Andrew.
And we've been gone for a little while.
Yeah, we've been taking a bit of hiatus.
Yeah,
these
summer,
things.
we've been enjoying the sun, and it's been really hot.
As balls.
Really hot.
Yep.
Yep. So anyway...
But we want to talk about RoboCop. This trailer, they showed footage at Comic-Con. Apparently, the word is from people who saw Comic-Con footage at Hall H. They said that the footage there was more geared to the socio-political kind of commentaries in the movie. This is more action-based, obviously. I mean, seems like what they need to do.
Let's just dive in.
Let's dive in.
What are your thoughts on the original RoboCop?
You know what? I really like the original RoboCop. I mean, it became a cult classic. But I don't love it the way so many of my friends really love it. You know what I mean? They regard it very highly. I find it a very fun movie. And now I'm starting to find it more of a classic after I watched this trailer, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say,
we gotta pause up here. It's amazing.
First of all, the cast in this movie is amazing. I love their...
Jay Baruchel, look at that, with the beard.
I love how they're handling the RoboCop world. Now, remind me, in the first RoboCop, it's
the Paul Verhoeven classic.
Yeah, the Paul Verhoeven classic. It's set in the future.
Yeah,
but it's like now, basically.
I think it's 2020 something. So it's about 10 years off. Okay. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure. I
thought it was around now because now they've evolved.
You think it's like Back to the Future too?
Yeah,
it's like 2015.
You know, because so the new RoboCop is going to take place in 2028. Now, I always have a hard time with certain things with future tech. Because a lot of the time, the future that they paint in the 80s is far-fetched enough. But, even this movie, it's 2014. So you're saying in 14 years, our world is going to be this
different?
But,
yeah.
You never know. I mean, that's a really advanced...
Totally.
That's a really advanced robot. So
and especially, that's something I feel a lot about movies. I kind of wish more films did the X-Men approach, which is just saying in the not too distant future.
Yeah, look at his. He's got the Tony Stark You
look at movies like The Purge. The Purge takes place in 2022, and no way is that going to be implemented within 10 years, let alone ever. But yeah,
let's talk about casting.
Okay, Abby Cornish.
Abby Cornish.
I love Abby Cornish. Bright Star. Watch that movie. It's amazing. That guy.
I've never even. I had no idea.
Joel Kinnaman. He broke out really with The Killing. The show The Killing.
Yes.
I saw the first season of The Killing. I heard by the time they get to season 3, it's effing amazing. I've heard it's very good. I wasn't crazy into the idea of The Killing. I wanted to watch Twin Peaks right after just to make it right. But he's very good.
Yeah,
he was also.
So clearly somebody doesn't like him.
Right.
One bit.
So, all right, here's my first problem with this trailer. Well, not problem, but my first notion that this is going to be a bland movie. It seems like this studio. I don't know what rating this is. Are they going for R?
I think it's going to be PG-13.
Well, that's the thing, because from you remember the original film.
It's a pretty dark trailer. It's Michael Keaton, by the way.
Yeah, they take Peter Weller and they torture the F out of him. They really put him through the ringer, and you can't wait for him to come back.
But remember, the 80s are a very different time.
Well, Paul Verhoeven's also a very different filmmaker.
He's a very different filmmaker. He really pushes the envelope in terms of what people can stomach.
But this kind of, I hate to say it, but I mean already just by judging the trailer, a car bomb seems like such a watered down, unpersonal take for him to become RoboCop. I mean, if they are going to go the route,
you never know. The motivation might be very personal.
Yeah, it might be a different motivation.
Maybe he didn't stop the murder of somebody's family, so they put a bomb in his car or something like that. I'm just spitballing here, guys. But I like also the background here is very what's the artist that I'm thinking of? Just very famous 80s, Yeah, it's exactly. It's like you got the Nagel prints going on, and it's funny. Yeah, it's just very funny to me that you have this look Because it feels like it is a direct descendant.
Right.
And by the way, I want to just point one thing out. It is a long ass time
before they get to
get to any kind of titling whatsoever.
I mean, I think that is from a trailer perspective. I'd say I think it's clever to set up the whole.
It's almost like a little prologue.
Alex, to set up Alex's death before they actually get into the.
But yeah, dude,
to the thing.
He is messed up.
Yeah.
He's pretty messed
up. It's like Annie Skywalker. This is the real story of Darth Vader.
Yeah. I mean, this is basically Darth Vader.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
and like.
Pretty much. Yeah. But
distant sequel. It's like This is Star Wars 11. I think they do, 10. It'll be 10.
Right.
It'll be 10. Star Wars 10.
Yeah, they would have to
do
10.
RoboCops.
So,
but the cast. Let's talk about the rest of the cast.
Right.
Because there's a lot going on, but the cast is huge.
Cast.
We have Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
We have Abby Cornish.
Yeah.
We have
Gary Oldman. We have Jay Baruchel.
Yeah. And Samuel L. Jackson.
Batman.
Yeah. Oh my God! There's a line coming up that Michael Keaton delivers. First off, I have to say I think this is kind of lame. They give him something that very much resembles the classic '80s RoboCop outfit, and then they're like, "You know what? It's not cool enough. This is old school. This is stupid. We need something sleek and black and cool and like Batman." And if you're gonna remake something, fine, do whatever you want to it, new. That's awesome. But do you have to say like the old thing? Like screw the old thing. The old thing's stupid.
Everything's better.
Do you have to really crap all over the old? Version.
Dude, just think back a few years ago when Apple dropped the bomb on everybody when they turned the iPod into black. Like they don't even make a white iPod anymore. Think about that. White was like you could just see something, the silhouette of a white string, and you instantly think Apple. Now they've gone to black, and it's just like boom.
They don't go back.
Their hands are.
RoboCop's
trying to go that way, you know.
But it's like if it was.
I love his voice though. His voice is so cool. Like the really modulated, synthesized voice.
To me, the idea of him having different levels of suits is a cool idea, but I don't know what the purpose of it. Oh, okay, hold on. We got to get to this line. This is the closest we will ever get 1989 Batman, Michael Keaton, saying, "Does it come in black?" Which is awesome.
Make him look, let's go black.
I bet they all knew that on set.
Yeah. Kind of fun. I mean, I love the way it looks though.
You do?
I really do. I think the suit is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I don't know if it's just that this trailer is pretty underwhelming, but I'm not feeling anything about this movie so far. I kind of feel like it just gives me a vibe of Total Recall, the Len Wiseman remake, meets a very watered down, uninteresting version of Dredd, and Dredd was amazing.
I think also part of the problem with some of these 80s remakes is that you get into this habit of like, we're gonna take everything that's amazing about the old one and we're gonna like make it into something that's gonna be cool today. But the problem is that there's this intangible quality to all those movies that they're remaking. That is just the nostalgia factor.
That's the thing.
That
What's cool today?
You cannot recreate it.
Right.
You can't. There's
What's cool today is the nostalgia of RoboCop. That's cool.
Integrated the drones in the second.
That's true. Yeah. Well, we should talk about this. We should talk about why bring RoboCop back, other than the fact that they remake everything.
It's a very apt place to pause.
It is. Who is in control?
Who is in control? Who is in control? With the security leaks, with the drone strikes.
See, that's the thing.
Chemical weapons.
Freaking Detroit, man.
You know,
RoboCop is perfect for resurgence right now because Detroit just went bankrupt.
Motor City, baby.
Right. Everything Paul Verhoeven all the themes that he kind of talked about, whether it's in the media or corporate, whatever.
He's a visionary.
He is, and it's only escalated since the 80s.
Yeah.
So they have to have a reason to bring it back. And
Absolutely.
I really hope that it's not just shit.
No, but I think this is the point of this movie. Is really who is in control? Like, are we in control of our own fates? With the stockpiles of weapons or drugs for countries, keeping checks and balances, all that stuff like that. I think, drone strikes. This movie has a very political backbone to it. I mean,
if it ends up being a metaphor, if he's a metaphor for drones, that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, because you see this thing going, that there's no way that this.
They have to talk about drones.
There's no way that this thing is flying with a pilot.
Right.
What about the new angle of that?
Yeah. Also.
It's all simulated that he doesn't know.
It is all simulated.
It's kind of like so they basically, in case you haven't watch the trailer and you're just listening to us.
I love this part.
I know, it's pretty cool. It just like comes out.
Yeah. So it came out in the original, but I like in this one that it comes out in pieces and then it
just builds itself on. It's pretty cool.
Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah, that's a very good cameo right there. So yeah, they talk about how he thinks that he has the choice, but it's actually an illusion. It's all being pre-programmed for him. And I think that really also kind of goes back to a lot of the ways that we interact with society and stuff like that today. Like, you think you have a choice of what you watch, what you wear, what you do, where you eat, all that kind of stuff. It's all pretty much being picked for you with advertising and product placement and that kind of stuff. You're pre-wired to think that way.
You should write this movie. You should talk to Paul Verhoeven.
I should talk to Paul Verhoeven and say, Paul, we need to talk. I want 1 part Showgirls, 2 parts Starship Troopers.
See, stuff like this, it just looks like any other sci-fi movie.
Yeah, well, I know.
Which it's hard to really be that original, I guess, in the field.
It's weird to cut back to them, like, making love when he's, like, a man, because it's like, there you see the Sentinels from, like, the first movie.
You know, I have to say that this must be a very difficult movie to cut an effective trailer for, especially when I'm sure that they went through a lot of discussions on how exactly they market it. Do they market the action? Do they market, especially after the summer, which a lot of almost surefire hits.
I don't know.
Didn't do well in the box office.
It's tough, man. It's really tough.
The trailer to me didn't work.
It does not. The trailer's all over the place. There are parts of it I like. There are most of the parts that I don't really like that much. And
there aren't a lot of hills and valleys. It's just kind of
a lot of stuff there's a lot of things I'd really like to be excited about.
Right.
But I can't.
All right, so pros and cons. Let's weigh in some pros and cons.
Pros and cons. Pros, it's 80s nostalgia, so shut up and take my money. Cons, it's 80s nostalgia, so shut up and take my money. No, I mean, there's not really any pros to this. It doesn't really bring anything new. The only thing I think I get out of these new sci-fi movies, for me, the only pro, is just, like, fresh takes on old design. I love seeing, like, the evolution of design and that kind of things. Like, one of the things I love about the Star Wars movies is seeing, going from, like, the Naboo fighter to the Imperial, TIE fighters, like, and how that transition takes place. Because when I first been watching the movie, I'm like, oh, that's going to become an X-Wing one day. But then you're like, oh, shit, guess what? Trade Federation comes up in this place, and now all the good guys, they go into TIE fighters. And it's just crazy.
Right.
So,
one of my favorite things about movies, past movies that take place in the future or have some sequences in the future, one of my favorite ideas about that is seeing how people in the 80s thought the future was going to look like compared to people of the 50s. Like, it just the weird dichotomy because it says something almost more about where they are than where they think they're going.
I think they should have gone. I think this movie was plagued with budgets and story rewrites, all that stuff. And I think that the problem is that it just is too soon for this movie.
Soon.
I think this movie should have come out in 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, when it's really like closer to this reality and it's more in people's minds, or have it come out now and be set in like 20 years, 30 years from now, where we can actually see a more believable evolution of a world.
I think
because any kind of dystopia that takes place in 10 years, I'm like, okay, what systems have to crumble before?
I think it's very interesting because this is both the best time socially and the worst time cinematically for this movie to come out. And what I mean by that is the best time socially. Obviously, drones is a big topic that everybody has to talk about and address. Detroit's going bankrupt. Class disparity, whatever, all that stuff, all that juicy shit. Yeah. It's still in here. But cinematically, I don't think it's a very good time because if Elysium didn't do well, then I don't see how if Elysium didn't do well and if Total Recall didn't do well, both with
both of them took
more talent in front of the screen and behind the screen.
110% for the sci-fi world. They created a world.
Yeah, and Elysium looked even better than this.
Yeah.
And it didn't do very well. So I can understand MGM and Sony being very nervous about this movie. That being said, I don't know this trailer. The pros for me is actually the director, Jose Padihel. Oh my God, I totally ruined and butchered his name. But he directed Elite Squad 1 and 2. Elite Squad 2 is fantastic. I actually didn't see Elite Squad 1, but I really liked Elite Squad 2. I really want to watch part 1. Very fantastic. I'm afraid that the studio might have swallowed him up, maybe. Who knows? And pros, obviously, this is a period where a RoboCop movie should be made.
Yeah.
Cons, everything else.
Yeah, everything else. So
It just doesn't look very good.
I'm cautiously hoping that there'll be something better that comes out of it, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Right.
So
it's funny. One of the writers on the movie is Nick Schenk, another name which I probably butchered. He wrote Gran Turismo, which is Torino.
Gran Torino.
I'm just gonna butcher every name.
Well,
from now on.
that sounds like a good time to sign off.
Right. Well, it's like the same kind of like Gran Torino was in Detroit, right? Or Michigan.
Motor City.
Motor City. Right. Very similar themes going on. Anyway,
I'm
not crazy about this.
For Movie Clips, I'm Jimmy.
I'm Andrew.
Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.